my first comment it's a reaction to the representative of the State of Israel, who finally, after 3 years, honored this mandate of his presence. Look, it's grotesque and frankly delusional that a genocidal state can't respond to the substance of my findings. And the best thing that he resorts to is accusing me of witchcraft. So be it. You're the one accused of genocide. If the worst thing you can accuse me for is witchcraft, I take it. But rest assured that if I had the power to make spells, I would use it not for vengeance. I would use it to stop your crimes once and for all, and to make sure that those responsibles end up behind bars. And I would make sure that everyone from the river to the sea, Jewish people, Muslim people, Christian people, and secular people lived in freedom and enjoying their rights, not just privilege for few, again, between the river and the sea. To the state of South Africa, concerning your question, if there are narratives that have been particularly effective in dehumanizing the Palestinians, absolutely. Look at how anti-Semitism and terrorism have been used, not only to dehumanize the Palestinians, but also to silence any legitimate criticism of Israel. I mean, no one cares about Israel's religions, frankly. I just want Israel to comply with international law, like anyone else in the international community, including the Commission of Inquiry, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, all the dozens and dozens of organizations who have documented Israel's war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. And by the way, Israel is the one who today appears before 2 international tribunals accused of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. And as we gather, Gaza remains strangled, starved, shattered. Hundreds of thousands have been killed or injured. Thousands are missing, buried under the rubble, or disappeared into Israeli dungeons. And as the dust settles and the fire continues, survivors search for the remains of loved ones, while bodies long withheld by the Israeli army are returned bearing signs of torture and desecration, many in a state that makes them impossible to identify. In the West Bank, settler colonial expansion intensifies. Israeli forces raid, arrest, and kill, while violent settlers burn villages, uproot trees, seize more land, pogrom after pogrom. My report makes it clear. These horrors are neither sudden or accidental. They are the culmination of decades of moral and political failure within a resilient colonial world order sustained by a global system of complicity. Through unlawful actions and deliberate omissions, too many states have harmed, funded, and shielded Israel's militarized apartheid, allowing its settler colonial enterprise to metastasize into genocide, the ultimate crime against the indigenous people of Palestine. And how did it happen? First, diplomacy. Diplomatic fora meant to preserve peace have been used to justify and advance this genocide, dehumanizing the Palestinians, legitimize Israel's false claim to be acting in self-defense or vetoing ceasefires. Those who have dared to oppose it by using, for example, the international justice system like South Africa, Palestine, Nicaragua, or Norway before the International Court of Justice, or those who have engaged with International Criminal Court have come under heavy pressure. Second, military ties. Weapons, intelligence, and joint trainings have fed the genocidal machinery. The United States alone accounts for 2/3 of Israel's weapon imports. Dozens of other countries, though, continue training arms and surveillance devices that have been field tested on the Palestinians. Decision makers have thereby exposed themselves to possible accountability before both national and international courts. Third, trade. Over 2 years, Israel's exports soared to 474 billion US dollars, fueling its war economy. And despite 2 years of genocide, the European Union, quick to sanction Russia over Ukraine, remains Israel's main trade partner, including in dual-use goods deployable for military purposes. This trade and all related military agreements must be immediately suspended. And last but not least, the weaponization of aid. The unlawful Gaza blockade has gone largely unchallenged by states. And while attacks on UNRWA, the backbone of the UN humanitarian response in the region and in Gaza in particular, have been tolerated or repeated, the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has turned aid distribution into killing fields for starving civilians. While this has been dismantled now, this gruesome enterprise and those behind it must be held accountable. Excellencies and delegates, international law is clear. No state may aid or assist another committing international crimes. This is neither charity nor a matter of choice. It is binding upon you. It's a binding obligation, and violating it risks complicity. Therefore, states must secure a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, in ensuring full Israel's withdrawal from all occupied Palestinian territory and the dismantlement of the settlements. Second, suspend all military, trade, and diplomatic ties with Israel until it ends and remedies its genocide, unlawful occupation, and apartheid. And third, investigate and, where warranted, prosecute those potentially involved in these crimes, including those who served in the Israeli army during and profiteered from the genocide. This is how we begin to honor the memory of those killed. And if the Security Council is paralyzed, this assembly must act under Uniting for Peace with greater resolve than ever before. And this is how we also honor the dignity of those who survived. This is how we give full meaning to this august institution that has just turned 80. From the ruins of Gaza and from the hope of South Africa, through the resilience of Palestine, may a new multilateralism rise, not a facade, but a living framework of rights and dignity, not for the few, not of the few, but for the many. My answer on which next steps can be taken to advance peace, I say respecting international law. The ICJ has spoken over and over the past 18 months, saying that it's genocide which calls states upon cutting ties with Israel, especially stop transferring weapons. And then the only roadmap to peace is about ending the root causes of violence, ending the occupation, now ending and remedying the genocide, and then ending apartheid. I don't see that there is another way forward. And this leads me to the next question that has been raised by many, including the criticism from South Africa. Yes, it's true that I've not given much space to the political initiatives and the humanitarian initiatives that you and others have taken, because in my view, they are not what is needed to take the Palestinians out of the genocide, out of the apartheid, out of the unlawful occupation. Many of you continue to treat Palestine as a humanitarian crisis to manage in perpetuity, and I stand firmly against it in the name of justice and human rights. As simple as that. A member state, including Saudi Arabia, may want to use their influence to make sure that, as the ICJ has requested, Israel withdraws the troops, dismantle the settlements, and then stops using Palestinian resources, allowing also for reparations. This is what is to be done. And look at the peace plan that so many of you have uploaded in recent weeks. This peace plan has continued, maintained the Palestinians under occupation, and in fact doesn't take into account international law at all, and creates the conditions for an occupation in disguise. Instead of helping bring to an end the occupation, it's rewarding and it's allowing it to stay, again, as I said, under disguise. We must be honest about what we are confronting. What Israel has built is not at all exceptional. It's the colonial order continued and refined. This is racial domination and dispossession updated for our century and enforced with the weapons and technologies of this century. As the global anti-apartheid movement of our time demonstrates, it's states that stay silent and complicit. The people united are rising. Workers are striking worldwide. The BDS is gaining new momentum with more consumers boycotting strategically, businesses divesting, and institutions from banks to universities slowly but steadily correcting their practices. The question is no longer if Israel's apartheid and the global system of complicity that supports it will end. It matters when and how. And what gives me hope are the initiatives like the Hague Group led by Colombia and South Africa that embody the beginning of a new multilateralism. Look, in conclusion, for the younger generation, the genocide of the Palestinians is memory in the making, shaping their sense of self in the global order. And whether recognized by states or not, accepted or not by those in power, the Palestinian struggle for freedom stands at the heart of the movement toward a truly decolonial world order. And to the people of Palestine, I say, may you hear it. From the harshness of occupation to wherever exile has taken you, watching or suffering the genocide, your struggle is seen, your resilience is honored, and the world is awakening with you and will stand with you as it has done with South Africa until your liberation. Thank you.